One of the first parts of distribution is distribution within the theatrical window. The theatrical window typically lasts for about 90 days, although Netflix and other streaming services have interrupted that window. More on that later. The film revenue cycle typically looks like this. The theatrical in-theater portion used to have gone up to 6 months, but these days it's more like 1 to 3 months, with pay-per-view and home video lasting between 3 to 6 months after initial theatrical release. Once this trickles down, you eventually will have your film distributed through pay TV and then free TV, lasting from 1 year to multiple years. Here is an example of a distribution's pitch to you, the filmmaker. The third blue bubble from left to right is setting the release date, an important time as you don't want to distribute or put out your film in competition with another possible big hit at the box office. The fourth blue bubble for consideration is theater selection. According to Jeff Ullin, the choice of a theater chain will coincide with location of where your movie will show. For example, if you're booking a film in Regal Cinema on Main Street, it's accepted that you shouldn't then book your film in the theater across the street at AMC's complex, granting that theater a measure of exclusivity over its competitor. Also, showing your film in a specific theater location can attract a certain type of audience, which can boost marketing for your type of genre. But what if your film will not benefit from being in theater? Disney CEO talks in an interview about why you might benefit from streaming instead.
And clearly, consumers are enjoying a kind of a different form of entertainment in the home, one that is over the top, not necessarily connected to a traditional satellite or cable distributor or distribution model, one that has a significant amount of choice, one that enables the consumer to customize or to have personalized experiences, one that can be watched seamlessly on multiple devices. And so it was clear that given the company's ability to create content that people love, why not give people content that they love, but on platforms that are becoming more and more interesting to them, more and more compelling to them.
As Bob Iger mentions in this interview, the new streaming model is bringing a connection to consumers and thereby eliminating third-party distributors Disney used to have before having Disney+. So why, may you ask, is this new model preferable in some cases? According to Business Insider's article, Netflix slightly extends exclusive theatrical windows. Instead of enjoying box office dollars, Netflix, amongst other streamers with original content, would prefer to drive signups amongst those who might have instead bought a ticket in theaters, as it's the difference between a one-off sale and a long-term recurring revenue. Netflix, for example, had 151.6 million paid subscribers worldwide as of 2019's Q2 reports. With its original movies, Netflix would ignore Hollywood's windows and make movies available to watch online the same day they debuted in theaters. But if they played in theaters at all, it would be for an award consideration. You can see award-nominated films like Two Popes and Marriage Story here. They had a theatrical release for less than 4 weeks. Some had as short as 1 week.
Yeah, we were at Sundance with Ingrid, and we had a really fortunate situation where two people really wanted to own the movie. One was Netflix, the streamer, and the other was a great independent distributor, Neon, who just recently did Parasite. And Netflix was offering us more money, substantially more money, but the filmmakers, the director, really wanted to go with Neon because they had great passion for the movie and because we could get a theatrical release for the movie. We could get a big screen release, which means a lot for the filmmaker. So we took less money and went with Neon, and we were really happy with how everything worked out.
Let's explore what it looks like for a distributor to enter into a licensing agreement with a filmmaker. The agreement needs to address the financial aspects as well as the scope and duration of licensing, and the terms depend on the distributor's bargaining power compared to the filmmakers. The following are some elements that need to be specified. First, what medium of distribution are you buying the rights to? Second, what territories? Third, for how long? Fourth, what are the financial terms? Term lengths vary, anywhere from 5 to 20 years is common. A distributor will always demand exclusive rights in the market, medium, or territory they acquire rights to. Usually, no single distributor is effective in every market, but distributors often sub-distribute via companies that can better match a particular market's needs. Distributors can lease the rights, thereby paying a fixed amount for the right to distribute, but more commonly, they receive a share of the profits, a percentage of the net profits made from the movie. Distributors can pay in advance that is later returned when the movie starts collecting money, which is both a protection and a helpful source of funds for the filmmaker. Sometimes there's a provision for distributor performance, requiring certain sales levels in certain periods of time so that the agreement can be terminated if the distributor doesn't meet these requirements. The advantages of owning your own distribution company, like Disney's Buena Vista or Annapurna's distribution arm, are the simplicity of putting together a distribution deal and that the parent company doesn't have to share its profits. The downside is that if an expensive movie bombs at the box office, no one else is sharing that loss.
So what do distributors want to see in your film? Horror and foreign language genres don't really need a star-studded cast, as per Breaking Glass Pictures, a distributing company. However, if you're trying to make that mainstream feature film in an Oscar-winning field, perhaps you might need a little more star power. A high-profile cast, along with a big social media presence, can always help, as well as a subject matter that is important. And speaking of subject matter and genre, some genres that are very popular right now in this graph showing popularity from 1910 to 2018 that in recent years thrillers and horrors are very in. But just like a film that would be better off with a studio like Warner Brothers and not at Disney, the same goes for distribution companies. Distribution companies also have a brand, and it shows in their marketing strategies. Breaking Glass Pictures, for example, distributes internationally as well as domestically. There are even certain distribution companies that have partnerships with movie theaters across the country. Fathom Events operates the largest cinema distribution network, distributing live and pre-recorded content to the best theater locations in the US and Canada, as well as over 44 countries and 2,100 screens worldwide.
The film distribution landscape has changed with streaming, but it's not the first time it's been disrupted. Let's take a look at some of the history behind where we are today. During the studio system era, the 7 major studios owned the 7 distribution companies that in turn owned and operated regional exchanges that distributed reels to theaters in exchange for the previous week's reels. This control, combined with low advertising costs and a lack of competition from other entertainment, meant low distribution costs and that the studios reaped the profits. This all changed with the 1948 US versus Paramount antitrust suit. The studios ended up having to settle with the government by ending block booking and divesting themselves of their distribution arms or their theaters. The balance of power in distribution shifted dramatically. The distributors and theaters determined what was shown, and this competition for theater space, along with the rise of home entertainment, made consumers more powerful as well. As a result, there was a rise in distribution expenses like advertising to secure an audience for a movie. In the 1990s, studios started acquiring independent distributors such as Miramax and Focus Features and creating their own quote-unquote independent subsidiaries such as Sony Pictures Classics and Paramount Classics to acquire rights to foreign films and low-budget movies from outside Hollywood. Theatrical releases became something of a runway for eventual licensing rights for home entertainment, which generated enormous profits. Referencing a famous Sumner Redstone line, Rupert Murdoch once said that if content is king, distribution is queen.